These kind of days are they're just tough days for all of us, and they're tough days to be a pastor. Because inevitably, uh, come Sunday, people are going to want to know why. Why does this happen? And why does God let this happen? And what do you say in those moments? And your questions are my questions, and answers are, I don't know, pretty few and far between sometimes. So where is God when the bullet flies? And why does God allow such evil and tragedy and suffering to just beset itself on people who are just doing their best, and kids who are just at the most innocent, precious stage of life? So answers are hard to come by, and I guess some of the choices are things like, well, there is no God. There never has been. Moments like this just prove that all of this God talk is simply fairy tale and fantasy, and maybe we should just stop it altogether. There are moments in a day like today I get that. Boy, do I get that. Because if there is a God, and this God can do anything to stop this kind of stuff, and doesn't, then God is a monster and not worthy of worship in any way. And if God is a monster, then I'd rather there just not be any God at all. I suppose others will say that God really is just out there somewhere, removed from the scene, that God got this whole ball rolling and then sits on some invisible throne in the sky somewhere and just kind of watches it all unfold. That God's role was to get things going and then leave it all in our hands. And on days like today, those hands seem pretty fragile, pretty dangerous, maybe downright pathetic. So where is God, and how do you understand God? Others will say things like this in moments like this, that God purposely limits God's power. God makes this decision. God could do something and might want to do something, but chooses to withhold power in order to give us the gift of free will. That somehow the gift of being able to choose for ourselves and then ultimately to choose love is better than stopping tragedy like this today. I'll just be honest with you. That all rings real hollow to me tonight. Doesn't do much for me. I'm really not interested in it. None of it really stands up in the light of the kind of tragedy we saw. So what are we left with? What are we left with? Well, in my kind of long struggle and wrestling with God and my own spiritual journey, I've come to this place of trying to just ask a different question. Not to be so concerned with the whys, because the answers just are no good. But to just maybe focus more on the where. Where is God when the bullets fly? Where is God in the moments of these tragedies? Where is God in the aftermath of these moments? Where are you, God? And I think that this helps us from being trapped. At least it helps me from getting all tangled up in whys. And in my tradition, the Christian tradition, we've inherited a very interesting way of understanding where God is. And for those of us who are in this faith tradition, are supposed to understand it more than ever during this season we call Christmas. Because I guess we are supposed to say that in the birth of Jesus, we get the picture of where God is. The birth of Jesus, the coming of Jesus, is the metaphor through which we understand the very nature of the divine. And so if that is the metaphor, then God is here. And God comes in the dark, and in the dark, and in the muck, and in the mud, in the grit, and the grime of creation. God enters in the dark, enters in the mess, enters into the pain and the suffering and the brokenness of the world. God does not stay removed, but enters in. That's hard to get now, because we have turned the birth of this little baby Jesus, oh, the cute little baby Jesus, into some sweet, saccharine, sanitized picture hallmarked of the season. All the scenes of Jesus' birth are so nice and so gentle, and all the songs are so calm that there's just no way that image can give us any access into a God that enters into moments that happen today in Connecticut. If God is only supposed to come in moments that are serene and beautiful, if the nativity and the manger and all of that is just supposed to be so nice and sweet, then God simply is not there when we need God. But that's why the stripping away of all this crap we just load on top of Christmas, we get this picture of a God who enters into the cold, into the messiness, into the chaos, into the confusion of our lives. So God is with us, not against us, not away from us. And God comes and goes ahead of us into the future to help us recreate this world again and again and again. And if you start to ask the where instead of the why, I can tell you, just even watching the news, which I just find absolutely excruciating, but I watch it looking for the where. Where is God in the midst of this? Where is the love? And where's the kindness, and where's the goodness, and where's the mercy, and where's the compassion showing up in the middle of this mess? One of the pictures that moved me today was the pictures of a little Methodist church in that little town in Connecticut. And they just simply opened their doors, put a sign on that said, come in. If you need a place to be, then come here. And people came for comfort, came to cry, came to be held and hugged and touched, and came to feel that they weren't alone in this mess. So what do we do? What are you going to do? The only way any of this makes any sense to me. What am I going to do? I don't know how it makes sense to you, but I want to hear. Join the conversation. Let me know. Where is God when the bullets fly?